Robin Lunge. Steve Kimball. Thank you. Harry Chen. Couldn't have done it without you. Doug Racine, who's working. Thank you. Get over here. Okay, we let him out of the office for a minute. Come on over. Bill Lofi, Alex McLean, Sue Allen, and the entire healthcare team on the 5th floor who's been working so hard. Jeb Spalding, I shouldn't have started. Thank you to all. Chairman Mark Larson, we turn it over to you. Thank you for your hard work.
Thank you. I'll make sure that we keep it briefer than the interrogation in the House. I'm really pleased to be a part of today. I'm pleased to be a part of this bill, which will then become law. I never doubted that today wouldn't come. I think the question was just when. The arguments for why our current system isn't working have been around for a long time. People have articulated them for many, many years. We just happen to be in the right place at the right time. I think the arguments about why a reform system can be better have been around for a long time, and people have told those stories. I work hard. I have a 7-year-old daughter. I work hard to try to explain to her why I'm not home very much for a few months. And I told her, so I'm working on this bill, and basically what it's about is to make sure that when people need to go to the doctor that they can. She's like, well, of course they should. I'm like, yeah, I know. And yet our current system allows the craziness of stories like this. I talked to somebody recently who was telling me that their neighbor had fallen down and she had hurt her leg and they had called the ambulance. And just after doing that, she started worrying, have I done something wrong for her? What will happen if she doesn't have insurance? Will I actually have hurt her by calling to get somebody to come take care of her injury? That's a crazy-making story, but it happens all the time. It happens for employers who worry about, if I can't afford to have coverage, what's going to happen to my employees who are sick or who have family members who are sick? In a situation where it's as clear as when somebody needs a doctor, they should have one, it is no longer acceptable that we would accept stories where people are worried about getting the care that they need. And that's the amazing thing I think that we've accomplished in passing this bill. I just want to say a couple of thank yous. The arguments have been around for a long time, but they have only been there because there have been people out in Vermont who've been willing to tell their stories. Certainly the advocates, many of whom sat in our committee rooms for long, long hours, but people across our state who have been willing to talk about the downside of what we do right now and have been willing to make the case for why things could be different in the future. They deserve a vast amount of credit for us being able to be here today. And while many of them are probably working, they can't spend their time here, I think they deserve a huge round of applause. I know that I have colleagues, legislators who have been in this building for a long time who have hoped to be a part of this day as well, and I think that one of the reasons that I have the opportunity to be here today and that we have the opportunity to have this bill signed today is that we've actually had leaders who have been willing to finally listen to the arguments about what's wrong with our system, to listen to the opportunities about what doing something different could present for our state, and be willing to do something about it. So Governor Peter Shumlin, Speaker Smith, President Pro Tem Campbell, you guys have given us the opportunity to do the work that we did in committee, and I'm very, very grateful. Our state will be better off for it. We will be healthier. We will be happier. We will be more secure. And I think we have a lot of work left to go, but thank you for giving us the chance to make things better in Vermont.
Now I want to give the final speaker to you, the chair of the Senate Health and Welfare Committee. Before I do, I was looking at the crowd of legislators here, and it's a big mistake to mention any of them because they've all worked so hard. But there are a couple of P's here that have been waiting for this moment for a few years. So I just want to acknowledge those two P's, Polina and Peterson. Peterson has two. Pearson and Plain have been on this one for a while, so we got to give them a little credit where credit's due. I now give you Senator Claire Ayer, Chair of the Health and Welfare Committee, who fixed all the problems in the House bill and brought you this bill. Come on, Claire.
Thank you. I love having the last word. I think it comes from being the oldest in the family. Before I'd like to put a face on this, on the whole healthcare issue. We've talked a lot about the economics of it and the fairness of it and the rightness of having health care available for everybody. But first I want to thank two groups of people. And those are the legislators who came before us, who've been working on this for so long, on the healthcare issues for so long, and teed it up with Act 128. Senators Racine and Senator Leddy in the Senate, in my years in the Senate, and Representative Meyer in the House. They did a lot to make sure we had the kind of information, the data we needed on which to make decisions. We couldn't have really gone forward without that kind of setup, and they did a great job. And to the people who held them and us together, our legislative and fiscal staff, Nolan and Jennifer Carby, just kept us going, and they were. We saw a lot of documents from them dated with a timestamp of 1:31 a.m., 2:04 a.m. They really burned the midnight oil to make this happen. I'd like to put a face on this whole issue, and it's something that's just happened recently. We've talked a lot about the economic benefit, especially for the majority of businesses in Vermont. They pay a huge and unpredictable portion of their profits to provide health care for their employees, those that can, and most of those who do not wish they could. This is going to give them more money to invest in their companies, more money to invest in their employees, money to invest and grow. I've been thinking about that a lot since my youngest got engaged and said that they're going to make a decision this summer about where they're going to live. He's an entrepreneur. Having this kind of availability, a surety of price and quality of health care is going to make a big difference on how competitive Vermont is when he's looking out there deciding the best business climate for him. He needs people who can invest, who can change, who can hire and move staff around. And that only happens when you have enough money to invest in your people. We're going to be saving people money by putting this health care bill in place and the health care process. The second personal face, personal face is my oldest. My oldest lives in California and had our first grandchild 2 years ago. She just put a deposit on a house in Madison County. She could move here because we have an airport, but her husband needs a job. Putting this in place, making the playing field level for Vermont, and really putting us in a better fiscal advantage, our businesses at an advantage over businesses in other states, is going to open a lot of doors for him, and I really look forward to all the chickens being back in the nest. Thank you very much. It's a wonderful day.
Well, you want some more speeches? Or should we sign this bill? All right, let's do it. It's a book of bills. We're going to go over here. We need everybody around. I need Beth Robinson. She actually read this. Where's Beth? Down. Is everybody happy? Everybody in?
Nobody out.
Come on, everybody in.
Yeah, everybody in, nobody out.
All right, here we go, folks. All right. What do you think it is? 25 today?
26.
26. You work 7 days a week. There's no difference. There you go. I give this pen to Deb Richter. She's been fighting.
Put it on eBay.
Hey, a couple of quick announcements. There's refreshments in the Cedar Creek room. You're all invited. Universal refreshments.